Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, gunfire in Springfield results in the shooting of a police officer and the death of a suspect. A car crash in Newton County ends with a fatality. And Missouri American Water donates $1,200 to the Joplin Fire Department for support and education.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 o'clock. I'm Michael Hayslip. We've got those stories, much more headed our way. But before we get there, straight to 7th and Rangeline for a look at our current conditions on this Monday morning as we sit squarely at 5 o'clock. 42 degrees right now, feeling like 38, believe it or not, warmer than what we had over the weekend. I really can't complain about the way we're starting off our work week right now. Anywhere from about 39, looking like our low spot in Neosho, Cashville, Miami, down to 36. We've got 45 there in Chanute, 41 in Pittsburg, and a pair of 42s in Fort Scott and Nevada. Clean Skywatch storm tracker. When I say clean, I mean it is clear as can be. Got a couple of great shots of the stars and planets out as well this morning if you want to take advantage of that. With the big jet stream sweeping off the Pacific Northwest and moving right through us all the way to the Atlantic. Now we find ourselves on that dividing line with the cooler temperatures right now manage to stay up to our northeast, and they're going to do that really for the next couple of days as our weather trend's going to feed us plenty of sunshine and put us up into the mid to high 60s. So once again, a little beginning to an unseasonably warm start of our work week, including how about mid 70s on Wednesday. Thursday, still not too bad, but you can see Thursday actually brings us our next shot of rain as well, and a cold front right behind it. This is almost reminiscent of last week. While the middle of the week going to be pretty unseasonable, nice and warm, it'll be that front that moves in just in time on Thursday that's going to put our temperatures back down to the 50s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Joplin Police Department says a man who was shot on South Connor on Monday accidentally shot himself. JPD says Joseph Pryor was cleaning his gun when it went off, hitting him in the side. Pryor was treated and released from a hospital. Pryor now faces a number of charges, including unlawful possession of a firearm. A suspect is dead and police officer injured after a gunfire exchange in Springfield, Missouri Thursday night. Springfield PD says it received a report about a potentially armed person causing a disturbance. A Parks Department officer assisted in the response and was shot during the confrontation with the suspect. Police say the Parks Department officer's injuries are not life-threatening. They say two city officers returned fire, killing the suspect. One man is dead following a crash in Newton County, Missouri on Sunday morning, and the accident happening on Poppy Drive, 4 miles north of Stella. Missouri Highway Patrol says 62-year-old Joseph McClellan was riding his motorcycle when it went off a road at a curve and hit a utility pole. McClellan was pronounced dead at the scene Sunday morning around 11:30. Missouri Highway Patrol saying the exact time of the crash is unknown. Missouri American Water is trying to educate Joplin residents about fire prevention. The company on Friday donating $1,200 to the Joplin Fire Department. Those funds will be used for communications equipment and protective gear, including safety vests to be worn on traffic accident scenes. Money is also going towards training materials for public education.
This money specifically will be used in our fire prevention division to help purchase materials for our education programs that we take out to the public on an annual basis. It will also help us with our smoke detector program.
Missouri American Water has donated grants to 36 other fire departments in its service areas. For the third year in a row, a mental health seminar called 13 Reasons to Fly was held in Iola, Kansas. The workshop's organizers say they host multiple workshops trying to erase the stigma surrounding mental illness. The organizer says after her son died by suicide, she wanted to learn from the tragedy and bring hope to the community.
At his funeral, I had a letter read, and it was like, why did God take my only son and show me how to learn from this tragedy? And so that is really my motivation here, is to learn from this tragedy and to bring hope. And if we could just save one life, it's worth it.
This year's guest speaker was Amber Jewell, a Southeast Kansas social worker who uses her experiences to help youth. Over at Missouri Southern, the Golden Crest Circle of Omicron Delta Kappa inducted 33 students and 5 faculty and staff members during an initiation ceremony over the weekend. Honored for excelling in areas like academics, athletics, service to the campus and community, and creative and performing arts. Sunday's ceremony also about giving back to others. That's why it doubled as a coat drive.
This is the One Warm Coat Drive, so it's a nationwide nonprofit, and our Circle of ODK has made that our premier service project for probably the last 15 years. So during the month of November, we put collection boxes out all over campus and also at one of the SMB branch locations and collect coats and other warm clothing, and then we donate those to places like Water Gardens or the Joplin Boys and Girls Club.
The chapter has also set up donation boxes on the main campus and at the Southwest Missouri Bank branch at 7th and Duquesne. They're accepting coats, jackets, and sweatshirts all the way through November 29th. 4-state motorcycle enthusiasts ready to roll over at Joplin's Hideout Harley and do it for a good cause. They were there for the Hope for the Holidays toy runs. It's organized by the people over at St. Paul's United Methodist Church. Participants bringing toys, gift cards, and other goodies just in time for the holidays for Joplin kids.
Well, it being Christmas time, there's always that need for families to be able to get toys for their kids because sometimes some people are less fortunate, and this gives them a way to get those toys and have a great Christmas, and we get to participate in that great Christmas.
St. Paul's also provided a chili feed, enabling riders and others who came out to not only stay warm, but also leave with a full stomach. If you're planning a visit to Galena, Kansas sometime soon, you're going to need your patented Rusty's medicated bumper ointment. Lightning McQueen himself, he's now calling the community his home. A number of people gathering at the famous Luigi's Pit Stop on Front Street in Galena. Luigi's home to a number of other cars, including movie replicas from Tractor Tippin' to the sheriff looking over everything. Kids and their parents took time to enjoy the other car characters until one Lightning McQueen showed up to take his place in the city.
And we're still going to add more. Don Welch, who was the inspiration for Sally, said, "You got to get me in there." So we're going to try to find us somebody to donate a Porsche and put her down here.
You can see Lightning and all his friends at 205 East Front Street in Galena. It is 5:07. Let's transition over to the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Take a look at the contiguous 48. Most of the action staying way in the northeast portion of the U.S. For the most part, Midwest remains dry, but you'll notice the Midwest also, where that dividing line on the color contour comes through, separating some warmer temperatures there through portions of Nebraska, Kansas, kind of filtered through us, compared to what they're seeing out on the eastern edge of Missouri and pretty much all of Iowa. So our temperature is going to be above normal today as we'll push up into the mid to high 60s. Plenty of sunshine and actually staying dry for the first 3 days of our work week. Next shot for rain really doesn't appear until Thursday, and that will bring us a little front for the weekend. That is a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOM Morning News, Independence Pirates have a chance to go to the Jayhawk Conference Championship, but the reigning national champion is standing in their way. And news if you're thinking about vaccinating your child.
Children ages 5 to 11 are finally able to get the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm Elise Preston with what doctors advise families should know before and after getting the shot.
Also, a Christmas tree shortage in one community has some saying, bah humbug, just in time for the holidays. We got to find a solution to this. You're watching the KOM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Independence Pirates had a chance to punch their ticket to the Jayhawk Conference Championship, but first, Indy had to get through the reigning national champions, the Hutchinson Blue Dragons. Pirates won the regular season matchup back in October, and now they're meeting in the conference semifinals. Second Blue Dragon possession, Dylan Leibel airs it out. Malik Benson on the receiving end. Benson all alone, 76-yard touchdown. Hutch goes up 14-0 in the opening minutes of the game. Later with the ball back, Malachi Bailey flies in for Independence. Give me that. Loss of 4 on the sack. Indy forces the punt. But the Blue Dragons, they keep pouring it on. There's a reason they were national champions. Third quarter, Leibel from 12 yards out. Back to Malik Benson. Hutch blanks Indy. Final score, 42-0. Missouri Southern Lions closed out its season on the road against Washburn on Saturday. Despite a second-half surge, 24th-ranked Washburn held on to win 38-28. Dawson Hurl ended his freshman season on a high note. He threw for 283 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jaden Stoshak, a popular target in the game, 6 receptions, 71 yards and a score. And on defense, there's a familiar name to Missouri Southern, Richard Jordan Jr. He led the group with 8 tackles, including 2 for a loss and a forced fumble. Pittsburg State ended the season with a 34-24 win against Fort Hays State. Dallas Flowers opened up the game with a kickoff return, took it 95 yards, also had an interception. At some point in time, teams are going to stop kicking to Dallas Flowers. Chad Dodson Jr. threw for 294 yards, 3 touchdowns, and it was Dodson's first career start. My man Elijah Harris tallied 102 yards on 3 catches and also caught a touchdown. On the Division I level, huge Big 12 matchup in Waco, Texas on Saturday. Undefeated Oklahoma traveling to Baylor. Both teams ranked in the top 15. Second quarter, Caleb Williams, this time he's playing quarterback for the Sooners, keeps it from 2 yards out. Oklahoma up 7-0, but later Baylor ties it up when Jerry Bohannon finds Tyquan Thornton for the score. Off to the third quarter. Williams' throw, intercepted. His second interception of the game, and that's going to call for a quarterback change. Enter Spencer Rattler again. Rattler scrambling. Well, to his credit, he didn't turn the ball over, but he didn't get anywhere either. Baylor leads by 3. Abram Smith gets you some 75 yards. Gets inside the Sooner 10 before he's taken down. That'll set up one. Jerry Bohannon. Sooners' 17-game win streak comes to an end. Baylor wins it 27-14.
Still a whole lot left for this football team. That's the advantage of winning your first 9 games is you do set yourself up to be able to overcome something like this. So disappointed, obviously, that we have to overcome it, but it is what it is, and so we'll bounce back like we always do and like we fully expect to.
MIZ's EOU hosting South Carolina Saturday. Second quarter even score. Connor Bazalik to Mookie Cooper. Cooper was wide open for the 60-yard touchdown. Tigers take a lead. Later, Jason Brown on the run finds Josh Vann in the end zone. And like that, we're back to a tie. Third quarter, 3-point game. Martez Manuel causes a fumble. Mizzou jumps on it for the score. Missouri pulls off the win 31-28. Another 100-yard day for Tyler Beatty as the mighty one, who stands a daunting 5'8" for Missouri, still the leading rusher in the SEC. Kansas City Chiefs travel to Las Vegas, an AFC showdown on Sunday Night Football. At the time of the taping, it was bad. We're live now. I'm going to tell you it was 41-14. I got a great line that I got here from Al Michaels last night. The Chiefs dissecting the Raiders like a science class frog. That's one way to put it. Patrick Mahomes connecting with Tyreek Hill for a couple of scores. Also, too, kind of cool last night when you think about it, because of who does the play-by-play, of course, for the Las Vegas Raiders. You had a couple of broadcast legends that were actually doing the same game right there in Vegas. I thought that was a pretty cool thing that they had going on right there. Pittsburg State closes out the Central Region Tip-Off Challenge. Had a game against Upper Iowa yesterday. Pitt State led by 5 at the half, then were outscored in the second by 8. Final score, 69-66. 3 Gorillas finished in double digits. Isaiah James had 18 points, now 0-2 in the early season. Number 16 ranked Arkansas back at home on Saturday hosting Gardner-Webb. Arkansas aiming for a 2-0 start to the season, but trailing in the first half. Connor Vanover, let's throw it up there, that'll work. He goes on to have a 19-point day. Later, 1-point game. Devontae Davis, a little bit deeper this time. three-pointer goes. Razorbacks on a 12-0 run, lead 42-26 at the half. Lance Terry, give it to me one-handed. Oh my. Arkansas still dominating though. J.D. Notte knocks down the three. And then we'll finish off with a little Trey Wade action as Arkansas wins it. Oh! 86-69. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, rising violence in Haiti, pushing American Airlines to scale back flights to the country, and a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
During the Black Friday.
20 minutes till the top of the hour on this Monday morning. Hope you don't mind. We're going to jockey back and forth between coat and no coat. It's pseudo-casual Monday, that's what we'll call it. Shh, don't tell the bosses. 42 degrees is where we stand right now over 7th and Range Line. We do have a little bit of a wind chill in effect. Only feels right now like 38, but actually warmer than what we've had past couple of days. So we'll call it a winter. We are as low as 36 in Miami and in Grove. Chanute looks like our warm point at 45, ranging in between a whole bunch of 41s and 42s from Lamar, Carthage, and down to Monette. Wind tracker is coming in from the south. It's almost reminiscent of what we started last week with. It's not going to be as windy, but it is going to feed us some warmer temps to go along with a whole bunch of sunshine. And second consecutive day, we can say our morning is warmer. Not a whole lot warmer than Sunday, but like I said, a whole lot better than Saturday. We are starting to get some heavy cloud cover that's developing here in the central portion. Earlier, we were clear as can be, and this thing just kind of got on us quick. Still, down even here on the southwest and up here to the northeast, you can still pretty much see through the clouds if you want a shot of any of the moon or the stars, and no precipitation to worry about. As a matter of fact, the Midwest remains quiet, and a weather trend that's going to lift us up into the mid-60s with plenty of sunshine for today. 3 consecutive days of above average temperatures before front begins to roll in Thursday all the way to the weekend. A little bit cooler, but that be seasonable. Watch out right there, Thursday into Friday, where we get close to the freezing mark. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. Some people will tell you, maybe it's too early to put up a Christmas tree, but if you're one of those that likes a real tree, turns out this year you may be out of luck. Courtney Lockey shows us how getting your hands on a tree this Christmas is going to be more difficult than ever.
Christmas will be here before you know it, and the folks at Virginia Garden Supply are gearing up to help you get ready the way they've done the last 50 years.
I don't know that I would wait this year because I think everybody's already itching at the bit to celebrate the holiday.
So before Santa comes to town, let's shed some light on the mom and pa shops who say this all started years ago, the clubs whose lots get emptier each year, and the shoppers who will have to pay more than ever.
The issue has been, I guess, the slowdown of planting from probably 10 or 11 years ago when we were in sort of the decline.
Manager Philip Helbing says for them, it's not so much a lack of supply as it is a lack of variety. For others,
we didn't think it was going to come to a screeching halt like it has.
Finding suppliers has been impossible. For the first time in more than a decade, Ron and Ann White with the Amherst County Lions Club will have no trees to sell.
Could not find anybody that had trees. We did that for a couple of months before we finally made the decision that we had to let people know we weren't going to be there this year.
You don't have to worry yet. You just might have to look a little harder and spend a little more.
Is going up. You know, labor costs, trucking costs, I think we're going to see everything, you know, up probably a good 10-15% this year.
The experts' best advice to get ready in time for the jolly old man? Don't wait.
Our question for you this morning on the Insta poll, what kind of Christmas tree do you prefer? Is it the real kind, or do you throw up the artificial kind? I think the Insta poll says fake. I'm going to be kind. I'm kind to our artificial tree brethren lovers. You can connect to us 2 ways. Either find us via Facebook, or if you want to go straight to the poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with Health Watch right after this. Topping Health Watch this morning, with young children finally being able to receive the COVID-19 vaccine, pediatricians are educating parents on what to expect before and after the shot. Here's Elise Preston with the story.
7-year-old Amaya Roy is getting her first COVID shot.
Why is it important for you to get the vaccine?
So I get protected from COVID-19.
For our family, a turning point in what has been an incredible incredibly difficult 18 months.
Elizabeth has been preparing her daughter for this, and pediatricians say knowing what to expect before and after is good practice for any vaccine. The CDC does not recommend giving pain relievers beforehand to try to prevent side effects because they could possibly affect how well the vaccine works.
It is advised to avoid fever reducers such as Tylenol and Motrin because in some studies it's been shown that they affect the immune system. That even though it's very few studies, we just don't really know.
Pediatrician Dr. Joanne Luna Cho says children should be sitting or lying down when they get their vaccine.
If a child gets too nervous, too upset, then they can have a vasovagal reaction where they drop their blood pressures and then they can pass out. But it's not just exclusive to the COVID vaccine.
Patients should stay in the office for 15 minutes after the shot, just in case they have an allergic reaction, and should take it easy for the rest of the day.
It's okay for them to have a fever, achiness, soreness, anything like that. If it's going on beyond 3 days, call the pediatrician just to check in.
After the vaccine, I think we've promised some sweets.
With Amaya vaccinated, this family has big plans.
I'm really excited about the holidays this year and being able to celebrate with more family and friends.
But they still plan to take precautions to protect their family and community. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
If your child experiences any pain or discomfort after receiving the vaccine, the CDC recommends talking to your doctor about taking over-the-counter pain relievers such as ibuprofen or acetaminophen. The good old-fashioned Tylenol, Advil, alternating case. COVID cases are on the decline, or at least holding steady in many parts of the world. That situation not so rosy in Europe. The World Health Organization releasing new figures showing that European deaths up 10% in the first week of the month. During that time, Europe saw more than half of the 48,000 COVID deaths reported worldwide.
It's been almost a year since the first vaccines were given in Europe, but you wouldn't know it from following the headlines lately on this continent, where it seems that one country after the next is introducing new restrictions or tightening old ones. Germany is in that category, having just recorded its highest number of new infections in a single day since the pandemic began. As a result, some German states are tightening restrictions. In Berlin, proof of vaccination, natural immunity, or a negative test will get you into restaurants or theaters today, but on Monday, a negative test will no longer cut it. And more states either have already or are considering whether to follow suit. Now, this is significant because Germany has always insisted on not discriminating against the unvaccinated. But things are changing so quickly that politicians, it seems, are pulling at whatever levers they can to try to right the ship. As bad as things may seem in Germany, the situation pales in comparison to many Eastern European countries like Bulgaria, Ukraine, and Romania, which are still struggling to get their populations vaccinated with the first dose, just as many Western European nations are already focusing squarely on the third booster shot of the vaccine.
That's a look at some of today's health stories. Our 7-day forecast: sunny skies, highs around 60 today. Warming trend to begin our work week, cold front to end our work week. We'll be back right after this. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, gunfire exchanged in Springfield results in the shooting of an officer and the death of a suspect. A car crash in Newton County results in a fatality. Also, Missouri American Water donates $1,200 to the Joplin Fire Department for support and education.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News, where we find ourselves at 5:30. I'm Michael Hayslip. We'll get to those stories much more here coming up. But first, let's take a live look over 7th and Rangeline for our current conditions on what's going to be another abnormally warm start to our work week. This week, very reminiscent of how we began last week, and this week's also going to be reminiscent of how we closed out last week. Joplin right now sits at 42 degrees. You'll notice a slight little wind chill right there. About a 4-degree difference between the temperature and what it feels like, but we're a distant cry from the old freezing mark, so we like the look of that. 36 is where we range in Miami, Grove, and Anderson, down at the bottom of your screen. On the top left hand, we've got as high as 45 in Yates Center and Chanute. And right in between there, we've got Carthage and Stockton sitting at 41 degrees. Skywatch storm tracker, we've had a little cloud cover gradually begin to move in on us. It's not too thick and we stay on the dry side. Could actually result in just a gorgeous, gorgeous sunrise here as we get closer to the 7 o'clock hour. There we are nationally. You can tell we stay on the dividing line and down to the southwest of that warm trend on the color contour right there. It kind of puts us on the turquoise. As compared to the purple, we don't want to be in the purple yet. It's too early for that. Yeah, that's why we're going to have actual temperatures that are going to be, let's say 6-7 degrees above normal for this time of year. We'll creep into the mid to high 60s with a whole bunch of sunshine. Overnight, nice and mild, managed to stay there in the 50s, high 40s, and really don't have any concerns, especially when we talk about that freezing mark, until we get from Thursday night into Friday. Wednesday will be the time there when the cold front begins to move through. That's going to bring us rain, despite a nice afternoon with temperatures around 65 degrees. That rain's going to usher in that cold front, drop us back down to the 50s. Certainly not too bad for this year, but once again, we're getting close to the freezing point for Thursday into Friday. The Joplin Police Department says a man who was shot on South Connor Street on Monday accidentally shot himself. JPD says Joseph Pryor was cleaning his gun when it went off, hitting him in the side. Pryor was treated and released from the hospital, and he now faces a number of charges, including unlawful possession of a firearm. A suspect is dead and an officer injured after gunfires exchanged in Springfield, Missouri Thursday night. Springfield police say they received a report about a potentially armed person causing a disturbance. A Parks Department officer assisted in the response and was shot during the confrontation. Police say the Parks Department officer's injuries are not life-threatening. They say 2 city officers returned fire, killing the suspect. One man is dead following a crash in Newton County, Missouri from Sunday morning. The accident happened on Poppy Drive, 4 miles north of Stella. Missouri Highway Patrol saying 62-year-old Joseph McClellan was riding his motorcycle when it went off the road at a curve and hit a utility pole. McClellan was pronounced dead at the scene Sunday morning around 11:30. Missouri Highway Patrol saying the exact time of the crash is unknown. Missouri American Water is trying to educate Joplin residents about fire prevention. Company donated $1,200 to the Joplin Fire Department, with the funds being used for communications equipment, protective gear, and that includes safety vests that will be worn on the scene of traffic accidents. Money also goes towards training materials for public education.
This money specifically will be used in our fire prevention division to help purchase materials for our education programs that we take out to the public on an annual basis. It will also help us with our smoke detector program.
Missouri American has donated grants to 36 other fire departments in its service areas. A Southeast Kansas event returns to Iola. This will be its 3rd year. The goal is suicide prevention and erasing the stigma surrounding mental illness. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with an organizer and guest speaker to hear the personal reasons they have for taking part in this workshop.
When tragedy struck Charla Miller, she says she struggled with how to handle it.
I lost my son 2.5 years ago to suicide. And so I just, like I said at his funeral, I had a letter read and it was like, why did God take my only son and show me how to learn from this tragedy?
It's what drew her to start the Southeast Kansas branch of 13 Reasons to Fly.
It's a mental health awareness workshop and suicide prevention workshop. It's a spin-off of the Netflix 13 Reasons Why, which was reasons to commit suicide.
The new name creates a more positive take on talking about mental illness, which Miller says helps erase the stigma.
Our main goal is to take the stigma away, and like I said, if we could just give one person a tool for their tool belt of life and just help them, to at least reach out.
The workshop was filled with various activities and speakers in the hope of raising more awareness about youth suicide. Amber Jewell was this year's guest speaker and says after dealing with years of childhood trauma, she's using her experiences to let others know they aren't alone.
I think the main thing I talk about is that we all matter, and finding hope and worth within us. So my statement and motto is that life is tough, but so are you. And I truly believe that because we're all going to have challenges, no matter our age, our life experiences, our influences matter. The life we live and the way that we role model hope is as impactful as getting in and changing something for somebody.
Jewell adds that while we aren't responsible to fix anybody, it's still possible to make differences in small things as we go. In Iola, Bronte Sorotsky, KUAM News.
Right now, 13 Reasons to Fly is an annual event. However, the group hopes to make it a monthly event here in the coming future. Let's look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The Masked Singer gives us another look behind one of the eliminated contestants. Plus, as more people come to the Polish border, Poland is hoping to avoid additional tensions. We'll have the latest from Europe. Now that we sit at 10 minutes past the top of the hour, give you an idea of our temperatures right now. It's pretty calm and nice outside, a little bit cool, but tell you what, certainly coming off of the weekend. Think about Friday into Saturday night. Whoa, whoo, right there. You wake up Saturday morning. That was something else. So right now we're sitting at about anywhere from 36 to 45. Make it up to around 65 degrees. Plenty of sunshine throughout the course of our Monday afternoon. Be able to roll abnormally warm temperatures on Tuesday. Finally, a cold front drops in on Wednesday, and those overnight lows are back down to the 30s. We'll be back with World Watch right after this. Topping World Watch, an estimated 2,000 migrants, including hundreds of children, face bitter nights without shelter and in freezing temperatures. The Belarusian Red Crossing is delivering food and water, but migrants tell CNN it just has not been enough. Fred Plekin reports on the growing pressure along the Polish-Belarus border.
The Polish authorities say that they fear another escalation at their border with Belarus. The Polish authorities registered more movement in that migrant camp that, of course, spread up early last week as a large group of migrants made their way from the Belarusian capital Minsk to the border with Poland, trying to push into the European Union. Now, the Polish authorities have also said that there have been additional provocations, as they put it, at their border with Belarus. They say that migrants have tried to push through on several occasions, but they also said that Belarusian security services have been involved in some of that as well. They say that their forces were targeted with strobe lights and that a ground vehicle from the Belarusian forces actually tried to tear down some of the razor wire that the Poles have set up to allow migrants to pass through. The Poles are also saying that their forces have been targeted with laser pointers as well. Now, of course, the Belarusian authorities, for their part, have denied any sort of allegations. They say that they're handling this crisis according to international law. Of course, both NATO and the European Union do blame Alexander Lukashenko, the strongman of Belarus, for the crisis that is unfolding at that border. Meanwhile, it certainly appears as though that crisis is not going to be letting up anytime soon. Belarusian state TV releasing video appearing to show another large group of migrants making their way to that border. Fred Pleitkin, CNN, Kuźnica, Poland.
American Airlines says it has trimmed flights to Haiti amid increasing violence over the last several months. AA now only operating one daily flight between Miami and Port-au-Prince, the Haitian capital. That'll start, actually starts tomorrow. American Airlines says there's reduced demand to go to Haiti because of recent events, including the assassination of Haiti's president and the abduction of 17 American missionaries in October. That is a look at some of our biggest headlines from around the world. Let's head on over to our Facebook page for our Something to Talk About. As this morning we discussed Christmas trees. Some people might say it's too soon to put up the tree, but if you prefer a real tree, well, you might not want to wait to get one. There's a community reporting a shortage of Christmas trees this year due to a slowdown in planting and also finding suppliers. Now, on top of that, we got to add in labor. We got to add in trucking costs. Price of available trees may be going up as much as 10 to 15%. Oh, by the way, remember that supply chain bottleneck issue that we've got on our hands? Yeah. So our question to you is, with all that being said, what kind of Christmas tree do you prefer? We went with real or I said artificial. I guess the powers that be, God bless my control room, they're absolutely awesome. They call it fake, but I go with artificial. But 70% of you say the fake/artificial route. Two ways to connect each and every morning. Of course, you can go straight to our Facebook page, KOAM News Now, or connect to us via our Instapoll, koamnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A man is dead following a crash in Newton County, Missouri on Sunday morning. The accident happening on Poppy Drive, 4 miles north of Stella. The Missouri Highway Patrol says 62-year-old Joseph McClelland was riding his motorcycle when it went off the road at a curve and hit a utility pole. McClelland was pronounced dead at the scene Sunday morning around 11:30. Missouri Highway Patrol says the exact time of the crash is unknown. Freeman Health System welcoming in holiday shoppers. Going to get some early shopping done evidently. Hospital hosting what it called the Miracle Market. Featured 15 vendors selling handmade gifts, jewelry, art crafts, and even some clothing. And the miracle is in the work that the market is supporting. A PSU social work student is putting a spotlight on incarcerated artists. Bailey Llewellyn is hosting an art exhibit featuring the work of these artists. The exhibit, part of an effort to bring awareness to mass incarceration and to create other pathways for rehabilitation. Llewellyn says she became interested in working for criminal justice reform when she realized the United States incarcerates a higher percentage of people than any other country in the world. At Missouri Southern, the Golden Crest Circle of Omicron Delta Kappa inducted 33 students and 5 faculty and staff members during an initiation ceremony over the weekend. They're honored for excelling in areas like academics, athletics, service to the campus and community, and the creative and performing arts. Sunday's ceremony also about giving back to the community. That's why it doubled as a coat drive. That is a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. And when you do, we're going to need a jacket, but it's certainly not too bad. And you got to remember, if you were out and about Saturday morning, that was a true taste of a little blast of winter for you. So we're well above the freezing mark right now as we range anywhere from 34 to 45. We have seen a drop there in Miami Grove and Anderson. They were at 36 earlier, now down to 34. Chanute sits at 45. Let's go 42 in Joplin and Lamar, though Pittsburg in at 42 as well. But by the time we get to the afternoon, a little bit of abnormal November warmth, not only for today, but for the next 3 days really, as we'll be up around 65 degrees with sunny skies. And of course, when we get that abnormal warmth, we know we're going to fight a little wind. We'll go south breeze 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting 20 to 22. So actually not as blustery as what it was at the beginning of last week. This is delightful right here. If you got Monday evening plans, look at it. We're going to be sitting in the 50s. And we're talking good 20 degrees above that freezing mark that we were hitting on Friday and Saturday. So it's going to be great to be out and about here for a little bit tonight. And really, we can rinse and repeat for Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night. Things begin to change on Wednesday. Afternoon temp, not too bad at all, 65. But then we've got some thunderstorm activity that works in. And so once we top out Wednesday, we're actually slowly going to fall down as the cold front is going to drop us into the 50s, not only for daily highs for Thursday into the weekend, but check out that overnight low between Thursday and Friday. 20-degree difference from where we'll be at the bottom of tonight, and that's something else. We'll be right back with more KOM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. 2 more celebrities unmasked on the most recent episode of the Fox hit show, The Masked Singer. Ashley Dvorkin with the recap, and as Ashley does so well, also a look ahead.
Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter Natasha Bedingfield lost her head as Pepper during a double unmasking on Fox's The Masked Singer.
Just stop your crying, it's a sign of the time. I felt I killed it. I felt like it was good. It's about really like making people feel something, and I felt something, and so at the end of the day, it's okay, but it was definitely a surprise.
She says there is only one reason why she chose to be the red-hot vegetable.
It was the only outfit at that time it was the only costume they had. But I was like, can my Pepper at least wear a dress? Like, can I be like a sexy Pepper? So I got to kind of help with that part, and we put eyelashes on her. I'm jealous of the rain.
Introduced to viewers last month as another wildcard singer during Group A's second round of performances, the singer knew her voice would make it easy for many to identify her.
I think that I'm more known for my voice than my face, because my songs are such big radio hits. You know, songs like Unwritten and Pocket Full of Sunshine.
Bedingfield says performing other people's songs allowed her to explore her voice in a different way.
What I found through stepping into someone else's song was I could see the genius in each song. I could feel it. I could let the song carry me somewhere, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed that, and it encouraged me to write more songs that are ballads.
We gotta get away. Next week, the singers from Group B will take the stage for their own semifinal round, with Cheryl Hines joining the judges' table as a guest panelist. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
We'll be back, roll through our early week forecast when we return right after this. 6:57 is what we'll call sunrise over Joplin on this Monday morning, currently sitting at 44 degrees, topped out at 56 yesterday at Joplin Regional Airport. So certainly not too bad what we're going to see here next 3 days. We're going to be well above average, as we've been as low as 34 in Miami and in Grove and in Anderson, as high as 45 in Chanute and Iola. Let's throw 42s in with Joplin as far as Pittsburg and Lamar go as well. Wind is going to work in from the south, creeping up to double digits there in Nevada, but still actually warmer than what we had past couple of days. Certainly warmer than what we had Friday night into Saturday. A little light cloud cover, but we remain on the dry side, and eventually as the clouds move out, whole bunch of sunshine, lifting us up into the mid-60s later on today. Let's roll mid-70s tomorrow, and really don't have the cold front work in until Wednesday evening. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, gunfire in Springfield results in the shooting of an officer and the death of a suspect. A 4-state car crash turns fatal, and Missouri American Water donates $1,200 to the Joplin Fire Department for support and education.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News. We find ourselves at 6 o'clock. I'm Michael Hayslip. We'll get to those stories and much, much more, including our morning Insta poll. But first, let's go to our daily almanac on this November the 14th, where our average high would indicate 59 degrees. We're going to be able to cruise past that for the next several days. Coming off of a weekend that was actually below 59, substantially below 59 on Saturday, only got around 50. Yesterday we topped out at 56 at Joplin Regional Airport. Currently sit at 44 degrees over 7th and Range Line in J-Town. About a 5-degree difference between the temperature and what it actually feels like. Wind's not too bad, picking up a little bit to the north right there. Had a double digit up at about 10 miles per hour in Nevada. Temperature's a pretty wide gap. About 9 degrees from actually about 10 degrees now from top to bottom, because Miami's at 36. And then you just work out to the east right there, and the Osho's at 46. Got Parsons and Independence at 42, and Lamar and Carthage both at 43. There's the Skywatch storm tracker. Cloud cover moved in. I actually had a very clear night before the clouds arrived, but it's also on the dry side. You'll notice the cloud cover almost mimics where the warmer temperatures are coming off of the jet stream out of the Pacific Northwest. All the cold stuff staying up to our northeast. So we're going to have 3 consecutive days where we not only have sunshine, but also above average temperatures up into the mid to high 60s later on today. And Tuesday, we're going to blow that average high out of the water. We're going to make it up into the mid 70s on Tuesday. My goodness. Wonderful overnight lows as well. And of course, we'll have to get back to a taste of normal on Wednesday, even though the daily high is going to be great. Some thunderstorm activity that arrives in the afternoon will bring us a cold front, take those overnight lows back down by the freezing point by the end of the work week. Joplin Police Department says a man who was shot on South Connor Street on Monday accidentally shot himself. JPD says Joseph Pryor was cleaning his gun when it went off, hitting him in the side. Pryor was treated and released from the hospital and now faces a number of charges, including unlawful possession of a firearm. A suspect is dead and an officer injured after gunfires exchanged in Springfield on Thursday night. Springfield PD receiving a report about a potentially armed person causing a disturbance. A Parks Department officer assisted in the response and was shot during the confrontation. Police say the Parks Department officers' injuries are not life-threatening. 2 city officers returned fire, killing the suspect. 1 man is dead following a crash in Newton County, Missouri on Sunday morning. The accident happening on Poppy Drive. That's 4 miles north of Stella. Missouri Highway Patrol says 62-year-old Joseph McClellan was riding his motorcycle when it went off the road and hit a utility pole. McClellan was pronounced dead on the scene Sunday morning around 11:30. Missouri Highway Patrol saying the exact time of the crash is unknown. Missouri American Water is trying to educate Joplin residents about fire prevention. Company donated $1,200 to the Joplin Fire Department, with the funds being used for communications equipment, protective gear like safety vests, and those are going to be worn on the scene of traffic accidents. Money also goes toward training materials for public education.
This money specifically will be used in our fire prevention division to help purchase materials for our education programs that we take out to the public on an annual basis. It will also help us with our smoke detector program.
Missouri American Water has donated grants to 36 other departments in its service areas. For the 3rd year in a row, a mental health seminar called 13 Reasons to Fly was held in Iola, Kansas. The workshop's organizers say they host multiple workshops to try and erase the stigma surrounding mental illness. Organizer says after her son died by suicide, she wanted to learn from the tragedy and bring hope to the community.
At his funeral, I had a letter read, and it was like, why did God take my only son and show me how to learn from this tragedy? And so that is really my motivation here, is to learn from this tragedy and to bring hope. And if we could just save one life, it's worth it.
This year's guest speaker was Amber Jewell. She's a Southeast Kansas social worker using her experiences to help 4-state youth. At Missouri Southern, the Golden Crest Circle of Omicron Delta Kappa inducted 33 students and 5 faculty and staff members during initiation ceremony over the weekend. These fine people honored for excelling in areas like academics, athletics, service to the campus and community, and creative and performing arts. Sunday's ceremony also about giving back to others, so it doubled as a coat drive.
This is the One Warm Coat Drive, so it's a nationwide nonprofit, and our Circle of ODK has made that our premier service project for probably the last 15 years. So during the month of November, we put collection boxes out all over campus and also at one of the SMB branch locations and collect coats and other warm clothing, and then we donate those to places like Water Gardens or the Joplin Boys and Girls Club.
The chapter also set up donation boxes on the main campus and at Southwest Missouri Bank at 7th and Duquesne Road. If you're interested in helping out, they'll be accepting coats, jackets, and sweatshirts all the way through November 29th. 4-state motorcycle enthusiasts ready to ride at Joplin's Hideout Harley, and all for a very good cause. It's called the Hope for the Holidays Toy Run. It's organized by St. Paul's United Methodist Church. Participants bringing toys, gift cards, and other holiday goodies for Joplin kiddos.
Well, it being Christmas time, there's always that need for families to be able to get toys for their kids because sometimes some people are less fortunate, and this gives them a way to get those toys and have a great Christmas, and we get to participate in that great Christmas.
St. Paul's also provided a chili feed so the riders and all the supporters who came out not only stayed warm but left on a full stomach. If you're planning a visit to Galena, Kansas anytime soon, you're going to need that patented Rusty's medicated bumper ointment. That's because Lightning McQueen himself is now calling Galena his home. A number of people gathered at the famous Luigi's Pit Stop on Front Street in Galena. Now Luigi's, home to a number of other cars, movie replicas. You got Tractor Tip and you got the sheriff. Of course, he overlooks everything. He makes sure the kids behave themselves. Those kids and their parents took time to enjoy all the other car characters until that one time when Lightning McQueen showed up to take his place in the city.
And we're still going to add more. Don Welch, who was the inspiration for Sally, said, you got to get me in there. So we're going to try to find us somebody to donate a Porsche and put her down here. Yeah.
Too cool. You know people are going to come from all over to check that out. And hey, we all right here in the 4 states can see Lightning and his friends. Exact location, that's at 205 East Front Street in Galena. There's the old sheriff. 6:07, just about 6:08. Go ahead and turn the clock right there. 65 degrees, going to be an absolutely delightful Monday afternoon. Good 6-7 degrees above average for this time of year. We'll get rid of this morning cloud cover. Morning cloud cover is going to provide for an excellent looking sunrise that will officially be over Joplin at 6:57. There we are, clear everything out. Check out what happens. Monday night's going to be great too. Check out what happens Tuesday with our temperatures. Wow. We're going to throw up some 70s here for the middle of November. That right there is going to be delightful and hard to beat. And enjoy it because things change on a Wednesday. Daily highs down back to the 50s, and then overnight lows, especially for Thursday and Friday, we're dropping down real close to that freezing mark. That is a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, a family credits a jogger for saving their pets and home from a fire, and their Ring doorbell captured the entire ordeal. Plus, German and British scientists team up to develop an antibody treatment to help fight Alzheimer's disease. And as the supply chain crisis continues, we hear about one company that has lost millions of dollars because of it. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, stocks ending with all 3 major indices already up. Gas prices, they're also up nationwide. And a former Fed chair weighs in on the state of inflation. Diana King-Hall, she has details on today's top consumer stories.
Stocks ended last week on a high note, with each of the major indexes posting strong gains. The Dow finished 179 points higher on Friday. The Nasdaq was up 156, and the S&P 500 added 33. As gas prices surge nationwide, some are calling on President Biden to make use of the nation's strategic petroleum reserve. Yesterday, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said tapping the reserve is the only way to offer immediate relief to drivers in the U.S. White House officials say the president is considering the idea, but did not indicate when a decision might be coming. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says inflation will get under control once the pandemic is under control. During an interview on Face the Nation, Yellen said the pandemic has thrown supply chains and labor markets into chaos. The former Fed chair expects the economy will return to normal when more people are willing to eat out, travel, and shop in stores.
All across the country, smaller brands are struggling. Supply chain issues hitting them harder than larger companies. And of course, that's driving up prices and costing them money. Here's a closer look at the problem from the perspective of a toy company.
At B4 Adventures, no matter how many boxes are packed, nothing can fill the emptiness
I'm completely stressed out.
Ed O'Brien is feeling.
So,
while O'Brien's Denver toy company warehouse is filled with product, it's the items not on the shelves keeping him up at night.
all our products are made in China. That's what's causing the big problem because we can't really find solutions here in the U.S. But the backlog of product has really slowed down our business drastically this year, and because of the supply chain issues.
Problems with the supply chain has products sitting overseas. Not to mention the cost of containers to ship those items have skyrocketed due to demand.
That's $2 million of unexpected expenses. You cannot manage around that.
B4 toys are tailored to get kids outdoors and active. O'Brien's team is still pushing out product, but he says it's only a third of what he was expecting to get on shelves this holiday season.
Our staff was close to 30 people. Unfortunately, we've laid off 30% of them over the last 3 months because of the supply chain issues. So it's just been an upside down year for the business.
While O'Brien fully expects to end this fiscal year in the red, he just hopes a rebound is in the horizon and filled boxes can make him whole again.
I hope we make it through this. You know, it's still hard to understand how to deal with this from a business standpoint.
That is this morning's Consumer Watch. Back with your 7-day forecast right after this. 6:17 as we roll weather on the 7s, and that is a look at our morning Insta poll right there. Asking what kind of Christmas tree do you prefer, whether it be real or artificial. Remember, there's always two ways to connect to us each and every morning. You can do it via our Facebook page, or if you'd like to go straight to the poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Had a feeling that cloud cover was going to provide for some gorgeous, gorgeous colors and hues on this Monday morning. There we are with a live look outside of Television City, facing off to the east and still waiting for the tree line over Joplin to get a little bit better. This is, of course, facing off to the northwest. Joplin sits at 44 degrees. We do have a little bit of a wind chill in effect as we begin to see 7th and Range Line officially get a little bit busier. 36 in Miami, 45 in Chanute. We're as high as 46 right now in Neosho. Let's throw Carthage at 43 along with Lamar. Wind tracker has increased to double digits up in Nevada and Joplin and now Independence. So slowly but surely, as we get closer to sunrise at 6:57, we'll see that wind begin to pick up. Wind chill numbers ranging anywhere from 29 in Mount Vernon up to, say around 34, 35. So yeah, it's a little chilly when you walk out there, but actually better than what we saw Saturday and Sunday morning. That is the aforementioned cloud cover, but we're on the dry side. And as a matter of fact, we're going to have plenty of sunshine today that's going to lift us up into abnormally warm temperatures for both Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Average high this time of year would be about 59 degrees. We're going to cruise past that. Overnight lows looking absolutely great. Watch out for Wednesday afternoon. The thunderstorm activity brings us cooler temps all the way down close to the freezing mark there from Thursday into Friday. There's a family that's crediting a quick-thinking jogger for saving not only their pets, but also their home from a fire. They were out of town when a man noticed something was wrong. Luckily, he acted quickly, and it was all captured on the family's Ring doorbell camera. Phil Gomez with the story.
I saw him running back and forth, so I answered it, and he said,
"Hello, yeah, do you read the smoke coming out of the top of your house?"
Courtney Polito heard the smoke alarms going off and gave this man the code to get inside to rescue their 2 dachshunds, a rabbit and cat. Polito says if the mystery jogger hadn't been there, they would have lost everything.
the fire department said 10 more minutes and the house would have been gone.
What amazed the family is the stranger didn't hesitate at all to go inside the burning house.
It takes a special kind of person to go into a burning house to save animals and all this, you know.
Because of the jogger's actions, the fire was contained to the garage. There is smoke damage throughout the house, damaged cabinets, and destroyed Christmas presents. This Chevy Blazer was damaged too.
This was a first for our agency where someone had used like a Ring doorbell system to kind of alert the 911 system and the homeowners.
Before the Polito family could thank the Good Samaritan, he took off. They asked us to blur out his face because they believe he may be a humble hero. He was wearing a yellow t-shirt with a star in front and on the back, a dark beanie with what looks like Arizona on it, and he also had an accent.
I want to give him a hug. I'll buy him lunch. I'll buy him dinner. I don't know. I want to just thank him so much and let him know how thankful we are. My kids, myself, my husband, we would be devastated if we lost our pets, let alone our home.
Dude's like a real-life Superman right there. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this. Topping Health Watch this morning, Americans are planning for safe holiday gatherings and also promising new therapy for Alzheimer's patients. Elise Preston with some of today's top health stories.
A team of UK and German scientists say they've developed both an antibody treatment and a vaccine to help fight Alzheimer's. They say the new approach targets a form of protein in the brain that's highly toxic and helps restore neuron function and memory loss. Women with breast cancer have a higher risk of developing an abnormal heart rhythm in the first year after being diagnosed, compared to those without cancer. According to new research published in the European Heart Journal, breast cancer patients with the condition were also 3 times more likely to die from heart or blood vessel issues. And with the holiday season fast approaching, a new study finds most Americans still plan to celebrate cautiously due to COVID-19. The study out of The Ohio State University found about half of Americans will ask their guests to wear masks and disclose their vaccination status, while nearly 3/4 say they plan to only celebrate with members of their household. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
As a look at some of today's top health stories, over to our temperatures on this Monday morning is we're ranging anywhere from, we got some 30s still on the board right there in Miami, only sitting at the Miami and Grove, mid 30s right there. Neosho's been all over the place. It's around 40 degrees. Chanute's been consistent. Now Carthage also up to 45. Joplin sits currently at 44. Average high this time of year would be 59 degrees. We should be able to eclipse that by the noon hour, push all the way up into the mid to, if not high 60s later on this afternoon. And of course, that's going to be the sun and also good south breeze. We're going to get spoiled here beginning of this week with overnight lows that are going to stay in the 50s. This coming off of a couple of high 20s there over the weekend. And speaking of warmer temperatures, watch what Future Track throws at us for Tuesday afternoon. We're talking about 70s on the board for the middle of November. Yes, please. Of course, cold front's going to be here. That'll carry us into the weekend. We'll be right back with more KOAM Morning News right after this. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, gunfire in Springfield results in the shooting of an officer and the death of a suspect. A four-state car crash in Newton County results in a fatality. And Missouri American Water donates $1,200 to the Joplin Fire Department for support and education.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News. We find ourselves at 6:30. I'm Michael Hayslip. We've got those stories, not only that, birthdays, anniversaries, and a whole lot more headed your way this entire half hour. But before we get there, how about a live look outside of Television City? That's hard to beat. As we face off to the east, the sun illuminating those clouds with the orange, the purple, and the blue. Absolutely gorgeous middle of November morning. Over 7th and Rangeline, a little purplish hue up in the cloud cover. That looks gorgeous as well. Sitting at 44 degrees, we do have a little bit of a wind chill in effect. Feeling right now like 39. Cooler down to the south, 34 in Miami and Grove. Anderson slipping now to 33. Our warm spots have actually been to the northwest. Chanute and Iola at 45, and Carthage has crept up to 45 as well. We'll throw Pittsburg in at 43 degrees. As far as that wind chill goes, here's what it feels like. We've got a couple 29s out there. Mount Vernon's still feeling like it's 29, but tell you what, actually better than what we experienced Saturday morning. That is for sure. Skywatch Storm Tracker illustrating where the heavier cloud cover is in the central portion of the four states. But even with the cloud cover, we're dry. Closest rain that we see is really up in northeast Missouri. Nothing to the west and nothing to the south of it. So for the next 3 days, going to have delightful morning weather. Our weather trend for today lift us up into the mid to high 60s. I'll say about 6-7 degrees above normal for this time of year. And the overnight lows are absolutely wonderful. If you've got evening plans that require you to be outside, it's hard to beat the 50s for this time of year. And if we're only going to drop down into the 50s overnight, guess where we're headed on Tuesday? Oh, throw up some 70s with sunshine for a Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, it is going to be a little bit windy here for the next 2 days with it blowing in from the south. But let's enjoy it because we may be thinking about these past 2 days or these next 2 days in earnest, especially when we get from Thursday night into Friday and we drop right down back by that freezing point. Joplin Police Department says a man who was shot on South Connor Street on Monday accidentally shot himself. JPD says Joseph Pryor was cleaning his gun when it went off, hitting him in the side. Pryor was treated and released from the hospital. He now faces a number of charges, including unlawful possession of a firearm. A suspect is dead and an officer injured after gunfires exchanged in Springfield, Missouri Thursday night. Springfield police received a report about a potentially armed person causing a disturbance. A Parks Department officer assisted in the response and was shot during the confrontation. Police say the Parks Department officer's injuries are not life-threatening. They say 2 city officers returned fire, killing the suspect. One man is dead following a crash in Newton County, Missouri on Sunday morning. The accident happening on Poppy Drive, 4 miles north of Stella. Missouri Highway Patrol says 62-year-old Joseph McClellan was riding his motorcycle when it went off the road at a curve and hit a utility pole. McClellan was pronounced dead at the scene Sunday morning around 11:30. The Missouri Highway Patrol says the exact time of the crash is unknown. Missouri American Water is trying to educate Joplin residents about fire prevention. Company donated $1,200 to the Joplin Fire Department, with funds being used for communications equipment and protective gear. And that includes safety vests to be worn on the scene of traffic accidents. Money also goes towards training materials for public education.
This money specifically will be used in our fire prevention division to help purchase materials for our education programs that we take out to the public on an annual basis. It will also help us with our smoke detector program.
Mo American has donated grants to 36 other fire departments in its service areas. A team of divers in Cassville, Missouri, aim to go deeper into the springs at Roaring River than anyone has before. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with divers at the springs to learn what they want to discover deep underwater.
A team of divers in Cassville, Missouri is on a mission.
We've gone deeper here than anyone else has ever gone.
The divers' journey begins here at the Roaring River Springs. From here, they'll go down to 230 feet below the surface.
That's the equivalent of like a 23-story building as far as how deep underwater we are.
It's down there that the team of divers called KISS, Keep It Super Simple, discovered a massive room.
There's a small tunnel, and then it just starts opening up. And it's opening up into this room that we have no idea how big it is because we can't see. You know, on the best time in there, we could see about 30 feet, and we could see one wall and sometimes the ceiling. But we could not see the bottom, and we cannot see the other side.
The team is recording their discoveries with the hope of turning them into a documentary.
And we're exploring. So we're creating a map of all of the unexplored area.
Randall Purdy, a videographer for the dive team, says the room they found when diving is unusual, to say the least.
Typically water is going to keep going in one direction. So for the idea that the water has come in and eroded this giant chamber and then found a way out basically in the middle of it, that's what's really weird about it. Last time we were here, we actually, in that room, we went clear to the surface. That's another one of those things that doesn't happen very often. We've got these really bright spotlights, and they wouldn't touch any of the walls. They wouldn't touch the walls, wouldn't touch the ceiling, wouldn't touch the floor. So, I mean, it's literally just a giant open abyss. We weren't expecting to find anything like that. Like I said, it's really unheard of to find big cave after a small, tiny restriction. That's kind of unique.
The team says they will continue exploring this abyss until they can get to the bottom of it, if they ever can. In Cassville, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Yeah, to give you an idea of what they were up against, that previous record, 462 feet underwater. As a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, President Biden expected to sign his new infrastructure bill. However, there could be a trouble brewing. Christmas trees, a staple of the holiday, of course. We're asking, what kind of tree do you have or even prefer? That's part of our morning Insta poll as we take a live look outside of Television City. And what a gorgeous Monday morning we have in store. And while temperatures right now are anywhere from the 30s to 40s, by the time it's all said and done, we're going to be able to cruise into the mid to high 60s. 3 consecutive days of above average temperatures before a cold front arrives for Wednesday into Thursday. We'll be back with Nationwatch right after this. Topping Nationwatch this morning, President Biden beginning the week with a celebration, as today he's expected to sign the roughly $1 trillion bill aimed at rebuilding and improving the country's infrastructure. The president will also meet with China's president in a virtual meeting. Over the weekend, as President Biden returned to the White House from Camp David, trouble's brewing, in part due to rising economic discontent. Christina Ruffini, she's at the White House. She breaks down some of the concerns.
We are seeing some broad-based price increases.
In an interview on Face the Nation, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said COVID caused a seismic shift in the way Americans spend their money, leading to shortages.
There's an economic cost, and the Americans feel it.
The Consumer Price Index, which tracks the cost of everyday items from eggs to pickup trucks, jumped 6.2% in the past year. And speaking of eggs, they're up about 12%. So are cars and trucks. A new one will run nearly 10% more, and a used one, 26%. Brian Deese, head of the National Economic Council, said today the Democrats' nearly $2 trillion Build Back Better plan will help stabilize the economy.
This bill
is actually going to address the core costs that American families are facing.
But Republicans disagree.
Every Republican opposes this boondoggle.
Most Americans support the social spending measure, as well as the $1.2 trillion transportation bill. But 70% say the economy is in bad shape, and only 39% approve of the way President Biden is handling it. President Biden is expected to hold a signing ceremony for that $1.2 trillion transportation bill and finally get it moving along the way. Christina Ruffini, CBS News, the White House.
The bill signing for the ceremony set for 2 o'clock this afternoon from the South Lawn of the White House. A mother and father in Hawaii are accused of keeping their adopted 6-year-old daughter in a cage and not feeding her. Isaac and Lihua Kalua are also charged with their daughter Isabella's murder, even though police have not yet found a body. According to court documents, the couple asked an older sibling of Isabella's to keep a secret, allegedly saying that they put duct tape over Isabella's mouth and that she did not wake up. The couple is being held in jail until their next court appearance later this month. Let's look at today's top national stories. No easy transition from that story into what we're talking about on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, as it happens to be Christmas trees. Now, some people may say it's a little too soon to put up the tree, but that's not our question. It's not about timing. It's actually about a shortage of real trees, whether it be lack of planting, whether it be lack of labor, whether it be the old supply chain bottleneck. Our question to you is, since you may have trouble finding a real one this year, what do you prefer, artificial or fake? Or do you prefer the real one? Right now it's overwhelming. We've got 3/4 of you saying, no, the fake/artificial suits me well. You can take part each and every morning. You can go straight to the poll, KOAMNewsNow.com/vote, or simply connect to us via our Facebook page at KOAM News Now. We'll be right back with birthdays and anniversaries after this. We take this time to honor this morning's four-state hero, Russell Johnson of Blue Mound, Kansas. He served in the Pacific Fleet from 1964 to 1967, a veteran of the United States Navy who was awarded numerous medals, including the National Defense Service Medal and the Vietnam Campaign Medal. We salute you, Russell Johnson, this morning's four-state hero. Let's start our birthday off. Coming off of last night's win/dissection of the hated Las Vegas Raiders, Gunnar McQuiston, my Chiefs fan of the day, today is your day, my friend. A very happy 4th birthday to Gunnar as he celebrates in Pittsburgh. And Gunnar, these birthday wishes come with love from Oma and Pop-Pop. What show was it that used to have a character by the name of Pop-Pop? Was it Arrested Development? What is that what George Michael called? There's a Pop-Pop that I'm thinking of. Gunnar, happy birthday. Raylan Martin, she's celebrating her 4th birthday as well. Good thing you're in the passenger seat there, Raylan. Thought you were getting started early. A big happy birthday to Raylan. She is in Stott City. Michael O'Banion Jr., the MOJ, out on his 2 wheels right there. Michael is turning 5, and I want you to know this comes with happy birthday from Mama and your entire family, Michael, as he celebrates in Pittsburgh. Katie Martin, she's got a smiling 7th birthday. Miss Katie, I want you to have a marvelous day in McCune. And in Parsons, there's Avery Gilmore. A crown fit for a birthday girl, indeed it is. Avery, very happy birthday to you. I want you to have a marvelous day, kiddo. Let's run out to Seneca, because that's where Emily Hilburn is celebrating her 9th birthday. Miss Emily, I want you to have a marvelous day. And also turning 9 in Neodesha is Lacey Parrott. What a beautiful, colorful dress, Miss Lacey. I want you to have a marvelous birthday as well. Once again, she's in Neodesha. All into double digits, and we'll start with give me a J, give me an A, give me a Y, give me an LAN. Happy birthday to Jalen Irvin right there. Pom-pom, ready to rock and roll, and a little Joplin Eagle pride for Jalen. Jalen, this is love from Mom, Dad, and Logan and Devin. I understand those are your brothers, so you got your hands full, I know. You celebrate this day. In the NAC, hey, look who's turning 10. McCrae Frankenberry, he is now double digits as well. Great family right there. McCrae, a very happy birthday to you, my man. And Gerard Hemi-Oni, a little Gerard Trojan pride right there. Cool school colors on the jacket, and I can see the scoreboard in the background as well. Happy birthday, Hemi. Also in Gerard, Marley Sisney. Now this is a big one because Miss Marley, she is now a teenager. Marley, congratulations and happy birthday with love from Mom, Dad, Evan, Aiden, and Quinn, Grandma and Grandpa Hanson, and Grandma and Grandpa Prettyman. And the reason I'll include all those for you, kiddo, is because I love the Sisney family, and also too, you are now a teenager. Well, speaking of milestone birthdays, you got 13, you got 18, and you got the big 21, and that is exactly where we find Stone Nash. Now, Stone is at Fort Riley, and so Stone, a long distance birthday to you. I want you to be very safe out there. I want you to celebrate, and these birthday wishes from Nana and the family going out to Stone. Courtney Barnes, she is celebrating her 29th birthday. Miss Courtney, happy birthday in Weir. And then we run down to Neosho Falls because over the weekend, Callie Miner, she celebrated her 32nd birthday. And so Callie, I want you, we'll go ahead and carry Callie's birthday over. We're allowed to do that. We're going to do that all weekend long. Happy birthday, Callie. Over in Parsons, Aaron Hetty turning 36. That's a cool picture right there, my man. What are we hanging out in there? Can't tell exactly where they are. Oh, because it looks like, what is that, Ron? Do you know? They're riding, it looks like they're riding something, but I just can't figure it out. Anyways, say what? Could be. Happy birthday, Aaron. I want you to have a great day, my man. Chet Hughes celebrated over the weekend as well. Chet, a happy 52nd birthday. Look at that, the old Jayhawk National Championship shirt on. Happy birthday to Chet in Humboldt. And in Erie, Julie Page. Gorgeous picture, Miss Julie. A happy 55th birthday in Erie. Let's go to Pittsburg. Dale DeVore celebrating his 61st birthday. Dale, happy birthday to you. And then over to Columbus for Jay Evans. I like that shirt, Jay. He's celebrating his 63rd. Jay, once again, in the bus. Roy Gotti. Now, Roy's celebrating his 81st birthday. That is a marvelous picture right there. El Capitan is what I will henceforth know Roy as. Because I'm told that Roy is still sailing, 81 and still sailing. And Captain, this comes with love from the wife and kids. And never hesitate to open up an invitation next time you're out on the water. I'm like a seal out there, man. Willis Neal Swan is celebrating 98 years old. And Mr. Swan has served our country during World War II. And so, and coming off of our Veterans Day week last week and headed into this week with him celebrating his 98th anniversary. Number one, Mr. Swan, from all of us at KOM and Fox 14, a hearty thank you for your service. Number two, a huge birthday wish from all of us as well. Once again, Mr. Swan's a veteran of World War II and known as the best guy ever. And Mr. Swan, I want you to know that these birthday wishes come with love from all your friends, your granddaughters, your nieces, and your nephews. Congratulations, sir. Shirley Thompson, this will be a point of contention before the end of the show. I'll kick it back here. It's cool because I got a point of contention with one Shirley Thompson because while I absolutely adore her and she's celebrating a birthday, I do not have a picture, but that's okay because what you don't, maybe you do know this. I know her son and the responsibility falls squarely on him, not on Shirley. And so that's why I'll be addressing that with. Alec Laverick, a happy 46th birthday in Pittsburgh. Emmy Riles, she's celebrating her 21st birthday. So Emmy, have a great 21st birthday celebration. She's in Pittsburgh. And Justice Cantrell, turning 14. Justice, I want you to go have a marvelous, marvelous week. We're going to take Justices. We can carry that over into Thanksgiving break right there. I was going to say have a great week at school. Only got about, 9 days left. And then Justice, you're going to get a nice little birthday vacation, I bet you. A happy birthday and happy anniversary to all. Here's where you can turn them into birthdays at KOAMTV.com. You can also visit our website, komnewsnow.com. And as a matter of fact, while you're there, you can be a part of the KOM Birthday Club by going to our website. Got special deals from local businesses, and once again, it's as easy as going to komnewsnow.com and signing up for the KOM Birthday Club today. We'll be right back. Wrap up this edition of the KOM Morning News right after this. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. One man is dead following a crash in Newton County, Missouri from Sunday morning. The accident happened on Poppy Drive, 4 miles north of Stella. The Missouri Highway Patrol saying 62-year-old Joseph McClellan was riding his motorcycle when it went off the road, hit a curve, and struck a utility pole. McClellan was pronounced dead at the scene Sunday morning around 11:30. Missouri Highway Patrol says the exact time of the crash is unknown. On Friday, Freeman Health System welcomed in some holiday shoppers. Seems like a little bit early, but hey, it's never too early when it comes to the Miracle Market. Featured 15 vendors, and they were selling everything from homemade gifts, jewelry, art, crafts, even clothing. Freeman saying the miracle is in the work that the market supports. A PSU social work student is putting a spotlight on incarcerated artists. Her name is Bailey Llewellyn, and she's hosting an art exhibit featuring the work of these artists. The exhibit is part of an effort to bring awareness to mass incarceration and create other pathways of rehabilitation. Llewellyn says she became interested in working for criminal justice reform when she realized the United States incarcerates a higher percentage of people than any other country in the world. At Missouri Southern, the Golden Crest Circle of Omicron Delta Kappa inducted 33 students and 5 faculty and staff members during an initiation ceremony. These people are being honored for excelling in areas like academics, athletics, service to the campus and community, and also creative and performing arts. The ceremony also about giving back to others, which is why it also doubled as a coat drive. That's your check at today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Also, too, want to take just a couple quick seconds to wrap up our morning Insta poll on the KOM News Now Facebook page, in which we were asking, what do you prefer when it comes to your Christmas tree, whether it be artificial or fake? And we actually ended up with about 3/4 of you saying that you prefer the fake or artificial kind. That's all right, just trust me. It ended up being about 75-25 is what it was. Current conditions over 7th and Rangeline right now, 46 degrees, a little bit of a wind chill in effect, only feeling like 41, but we're in store for just a great looking afternoon. Our temperature's going to be probably about 6 to 7 degrees above normal for this time of year. And even these temperatures that we're seeing right now, they range from 34 in Miami to 45 in Carthage and Chanute, much better than what we had Saturday morning, just a little skosh better than what we had on Sunday morning as well. Wind beginning to pick up. Once again, it'll come in from the south at double digits. Won't be as blustery as what it was last week. But once again, it's jacket weather when you and the kids step out. Still at 28 is what it feels like in Cassville. Everybody else pretty much low 30s. Now remember, that's just the wind chill. That's not actual temps. Temps way above the freezing mark. Skywatch storm tracker illustrating the cloud covers. That right there coming out of the Springfield sweeping radar. Nothing to worry about. We won't have any precipitation for honestly the next 3 days, as everything out to the west, the north, and the south stays extremely dry for us. And we actually have a warming trend that's going to put us up into the 60s later on today. And then by the time we get to Tuesday, we're going to be throwing up some 70s on the board. My goodness, that's hard to beat. Now, we know this is going to be short-lived, right? Yeah, certainly it is. By the time we get into Wednesday, some thunderstorm activity presents itself, and then Wednesday night into Thursday, and Thursday night into Friday, we're dropping back down close to freezing. All right, we'll have plenty of more news and, of course, Mr. Food when we see you at noon. Get outside, enjoy a wonderful, wonderful Monday with warm temperatures. I want to thank each and every one of my crew. What a fabulous job this morning. I don't tell them enough. Just trust me, behind the scenes, there's something else to work with. Do me a favor, be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
Antique is Small and Neo Show.